Every year, at the beginning of the year, people all around the world come up with new ideas that they can implement in their lives in order to make their life better. They have these things called New Year's resolutions. They go about 2 weeks into it, 2 months, maybe a good 3 months in it, but then they fail. They let them go, they quit, they give up. Today on Conversations with Asher, we're going to give you real, practical, applicable steps that you can take in the beginning of your new year to live a better life, to live a life that's fantastic for the rest of your life. We're very excited to be able to bring some of our guests on today who are going to be able to share with you some of these great, great principles. Today on Conversations with Asher.
Coming straight to you by the only host I know.
All right, you got the conversationalists here.
Make sure you join the conversation.
Welcome to Conversations with Asher, everybody. So today we're going to be dealing with the whole topic of New Year's resolutions. We're going to be talking about all the various different things that we can do to live a better life. We probably all around the world have experienced those moments of, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then we get a couple of minutes into it, a couple of days into it, a couple of weeks into it, and then all of a sudden we lose momentum. But I found that when you get a program or get involved with something that has accountability involved with it, that has eternal or long-lasting effects in your life, that you end up being more committed to that program and you end up having greater success with that. And so today on Conversations with Asher, we've invited some very, very great guests on who can give us some great insight as to what we can do and how we can do it. Today, our first guest we would like to bring on, her name is Dr. Leome Bliss. She's a phenomenal therapist. She's done so many different things in the field of therapy, and she's going to come on today and talk about some of the great things that we can do in our lives. So let's go ahead and give a round of applause for Dr. Leome Bliss. Thank you so much, Dr. Bliss. All right. So let's jump right into it. You have a company. It's called, or actually you have a practice.
Yes, sir.
Called the Bliss Center. Let's talk a little bit about that, Dr. Bliss.
The Bliss Center, we counsel there, and we also teach a counseling method that I developed called Parakletos Counseling that combines biblical principles with therapeutic interventions. It's revolutionary.
Yes.
And it works. And so the Bliss Center is the umbrella over all of the Parakletos counseling specialists, and we've got maybe about 150 of them around the world now.
That is fantastic. That's fantastic. So, Dr. Bliss, tell us a little bit about your beginning. What got you to Dr. Bliss? What created Dr. Bliss, Dr. Leome Bliss?
Okay, well, first let me start with Bliss. I got that from my husband.
Okay.
But I'm never giving it back because I love it. A little background about me. My history comes out of media. I was the senior editor of Upscale magazine. I had a radio program, TV program, and I'm a playwright.
Okay.
I write. And then I had a near-death experience.
Yes, let's talk about that.
And it changed everything.
How so? How so?
Oh gosh. Well, I died. You know, it's like I died, and it's like, but it's so much different, so much crazier than that. My heart stopped. I stopped breathing, and it was just really a terrible thing. I got something called DIC. There's no cure for it. So for about 2 weeks, I was dying. And when I came out of that, I wanted to do something else with my life. I wanted to get as far away from vanity as I could, as far away from working with people who were vain. I wanted to help people, and my spirit was just focused in that way. So as soon as I got up off my sick bed, as soon as I could, I went back to school. I went to theology school. I became certified in so many different areas, and God knew what He wanted for my life because I became very good at what I was doing, and the rest is history. So that's it. So I took what I have, though, from the media into my counseling because as a result of what I do, I've counseled some very interesting people.
Oh, well, before you get into tell me that, because I've gotten a chance to. You all, this woman is phenomenal. You are what is your title is?
Psychiatric rehabilitation practitioner.
Ooh, that's a lot. Say that one more time.
Psychiatric rehabilitation practitioner.
Okay, so I think a lot of people would be able to benefit from some of the things that you would be able to share, because you are dealing with the psyche. You're dealing with the unspoken part of us. You're dealing with that part of us that's always recording.
Yes.
All day long, never goes to sleep.
That's
24/7, 365 for your entire life. You deal with that portion of us.
The subconscious mind.
Let's go subconscious mind. Let's talk about that. Oh no, let's get into that after we come back from our commercial break. But before we go to commercial break, tell us real fast. You said something about entertainment, and you.
I counseled Candy and AJ.
Yes, from
on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I've counseled a couple from Sensation, and Who's Who around Atlanta.
Yes.
No names.
Yes.
Who's Who.
Who's Who around Atlanta. So, and that's exciting, because the thing is, you have gotten a chance to affect so many people's lives in such a real way. And on top of that, you've done that with people who affect millions of other people's lives. So the things that you share with them, they end up learning, growing, doing better, so they can teach and display better to those who watch them. And that's very important. See, a lot of people don't realize that there is a host of support staff that goes with the people who we watch in the media. And you have been a critical part in many of their lives. So when we come back from commercial break, we're going to jump into that a little bit. We're going to jump into all the different facets, and then some of the things that you can offer with the Bliss Center for people's lives in the new year, that they can actually get in the middle of and do for themselves to change their lives. Coming back with Conversations with Asher. Welcome back to Conversations with Asher. So we've got Dr. Leomi Bliss from the Bliss Center.
Yes, sir.
And she has shared some phenomenal information already with us. And so you deal with the subconscious part of the person, the whole person.
Yes.
Let's talk about that for a moment, because how much of your life issues out of the subconscious?
Mostly all of it. Doesn't start in our subconscious mind, but our mind really is like fertile soil.
Right.
We'll take it in, and just like the Bible says, some things you take in won't catch on, won't mean anything. But there are some things that take a deep root, and it's like a weed. Let's say if you're angry about something, that's a weed thought, and just like a weed, it will take root and choke the life out of other things in your life. Love, for instance, it will just take over, and so a person has to be very particular about what they're taking in, because it has a lot to do with what goes out.
Now let's talk about the whole thing with Arrested Development. We used to think Arrested Development was just the name of a group that made good music. But that's not what Arrested Development is. Arrested Development is a traumatic experience that happens in one's life. And typically it happens in their developmental years. And because of that traumatic experience, the person ends up only growing, they grow emotionally roughly, I think it's 15 months after that. That's about as far as that they mature emotionally, and their development cuts off at that point.
That's right.
They continue to grow for the rest of their life, age-wise, but their emotional stays stuck, arrested at that time in life. So when people begin to have a situation or condition, and then we say, oh, they're acting like a child. Well, valid point. They stopped growing at the age of 6.5. Let's talk about that.
And Paracletos Counseling has a tool that we use, because I do believe a lot of people are dealing with immature emotions. They never grew up. And what it does is a visualization exercise. It asks a person to think of a time when they were angry or lonely, hurt, feeling afraid, to go back and see themselves as a little person. Because wherever that was, they probably got stuck right there. And now they're managing their life with that immature behavior. For instance, if something happened in their home, if they got yelled at, or there was a problem and it was something that really they didn't like, but instead of confronting it, their parents wouldn't let them do it. So they go to their room. As an adult, they find it hard to confront people. Instead, they withdraw, isolate, and the problem continues.
And sometimes they get categorized as, because we in society like a person who will back down and just let you have your way. So we oftentimes, we glorify that, almost that behavior, not knowing that that's actually not a healthy behavior, because what it does is stifles the person's ability to have a voice.
Yes, and it's rooted in fear.
In fear.
It's rooted in fear. Most of us have got a problem with fear. I usually say fear is the #1 mental health problem. Anxiety, the root is fear. Depression, the root is fear. Stress, the root is fear. Procrastination, the root is fear.
Okay, let's talk.
Migraines, the root is fear.
Wow.
Irritable bowel, the root is fear.
So all of these conditions with the body and with the mind are all rooted in fear.
Yes, sir.
So basically you get rid of the fear, you get rid of the condition.
Yes, sir.
You get rid of the fear, people can grow. You get rid of the fear, people they're not afraid to jump out into the deep waters of their life and be all the greatness that they can really be, that they envision themselves as children. But now, because of life and situations, things have told them that they can't do it. No.
Listen, Asher, the interesting thing about our life is that we are indoctrinated to fear. If you go on cable television, they have a whole channel dedicated to fear, and you can get that one for free.
Wow.
Okay, so many things are made to frighten us, to keep us back. It's just like it's pervasive in the atmosphere that we grow up learning how to be afraid, how to do exactly what you said, how to stand back, sit down, relax. Don't go out late at night. Don't do this. And people are afraid. But when you are afraid, it stunts your growth.
Yes.
Everybody on the face of this planet has got a purpose. You know why I know that?
Why?
Everything else does.
Exactly.
The dirt, birds, bees, trees, everybody has purpose, and they know exactly what they're doing, and they do it. Human beings are the only ones that don't hardly do what they came here for.
What you came here to do, what you were created to do. We're the only ones that second guess the very thing that we were here to do.
That's
but
right.
the dirt doesn't second guess what it does.
No, it doesn't.
The birds don't second guess what they do.
No, they don't. They're flying around, and guess what I know?
What?
Also, we are not dirt.
Exactly.
And I try to tell people that you are not dirt. People are not supposed to walk on you. People are not supposed to bury their problems in you.
Right.
People are not supposed to grow their mess in you.
Yes.
First, you know you are not dirt.
Wow, that is powerful right there. And you know what? We're going to be coming back with Conversations with Asher right after this commercial break. You right there. That's it. That's it.